Title: The Haunting Encounter. As a professional storyteller, I've always been fascinated by supernatural stories and inexplicable phenomena. I've listened to countless tales of Ouija board experiences, but the one I'm about to share is undoubtedly the most chilling encounter I've ever experienced firsthand. It was a stormy evening when my friends and I decided to explore the macabre world of the Ouija board. 5 of us gathered in Jenna's old, creaky attic, bringing the board and a pair of candles to set the ambience. Adrenaline coursed through our veins as we set up the dark, ominous-looking board on a rickety wooden table. We dimmed the lights and mustered the courage to place our trembling fingers on the planchette. Uneasiness filled the room as we began asking simple questions, skeptically attempting to summon any spirits that resided in our vicinity. At first, nothing happened, and we hesitated to mentally commit to the idea that this game of fate had any real power. However, after a series of nervous laughter and skeptical comments, the room suddenly felt different. A chilling gust of wind extinguished one of our candles, plunging the attic into an eerie darkness. Goosebumps crawled up my spine as a cold, malevolent presence wrapped itself around us. The atmosphere changed drastically, infected by an unmistakable sense of dread. Every creak and rustle amplified our paranoia. Unsettling whispers filled the room, their origins impossible to determine. The planchette, seemingly controlled by an invisible force, started moving on its own accord, despite our trembling fingers merely resting on it. Uneven scratches formed across the board, as if an invisible hand etched malicious messages onto the wooden surface. Fear gripped us as the messages spelled out spelling our names, revealing hidden secrets too intimate to be known by just anyone. We recoiled in terror, trapped in a nightmare scenario that had somehow materialized before us. The board's sinister communication intensified, revealing great malevolence. The entity professed its hatred for the living, condemning us to an eternity of despair and suffering. Our attempts to rectify the situation were in vain. The malevolent presence grew more potent, and its threats became increasingly horrifying. Suddenly, the air became suffocating, making it difficult to breathe. The attic seemed to shrink, constricting and confining us. Desperate to escape the clutches of this sinister entity, we pleaded to whomever or whatever could hear us for mercy. To our astonishment, the planchette abruptly halted, its malevolence vanishing as quickly as it had arisen. The room regained its normalcy, the candles flickering back to life. An ethereal silence fell upon us, leaving only the lingering feeling of supernatural weight in the air. Stunned and shaken, we realized we had narrowly escaped whatever malevolent force had plagued us. And as we hastily packed away the Ouija board, we silently vowed never to meddle with forces we did not understand. Years later, we still bear the emotional scars from that horrifying experience. And while skeptics may dismiss our tale as a mere figment of our imagination, the chilling memories and the shared terror we experienced that night remind us of the horrors that may lurk beyond the realm of our understanding.
Title: The Whispering Shadows. Hello, my name is Sarah, and I have a chilling tale to share with you. It's about an experience I had with an Ouija board that forever altered my life and left me questioning reality. Please believe me when I say this story is not for the faint of heart. It all began on a stormy Friday night, 2 years ago. My friends, Amanda, Chris, and I were curious teenagers searching for an adrenaline rush. We decided to experiment with an old Ouija board that Chris had found in his grandfather's attic. We lit candles, turned off the lights, and placed our fingers on the planchette. As we asked traditional questions, the planchette responded, spelling out the answers with an eerie energy. None of us believed in the supernatural, so we viewed it as harmless fun. But soon, we realized the spirit we had summoned was far from harmless. The board connected us to a presence named Marcus Jordan. He claimed to be a friendly spirit who had died in tragic circumstances. Despite our skepticism, Marcus's responses felt unnervingly accurate, leaving us intrigued and slightly unsettled. Weeks passed, and our connection with Marcus grew stronger. We played with the board almost daily, believing we had formed a unique bond. Shadows crept into our lives, whispered secrets, and strange occurrences became regular. At night, they whispered from the corners of our rooms, speaking of menacing intentions. One evening, Amanda suggested we invite Marcus to visit us physically. At this point, our skepticism had faded, replaced with curiosity and a hunger for the supernatural. We gathered in Chris's basement, adorned with candles once more, as we called upon Marcus to manifest himself. As we persisted with this ritual, a chilling breeze permeated the room. We gasped as a murky figure materialized before our eyes. Marcus stood there, chained, his features twisted in anguish. Panic washed over us, and we knew that something dreadful had been unleashed. From that moment on, Marcus's malevolence engulfed our lives. The shadows, whispers grew louder and more sinister. They possessed our minds, planting seeds of distrust and paranoia. The spirit revealed itself as a malevolent, vengeful force, seeking to torment us for our arrogance and naivete. Disaster followed our every step. My parents mysteriously fell gravely ill, writhing in agony with no discernible cause. Chris suffered from relentless nightmares, waking up to mysterious bruises and scratches. Amanda's cheerful spirit slowly diminished, replaced by a hollow emptiness. We were trapped in a perpetual nightmare, unable to escape Marcus's wrath. Desperate, we sought help from a spiritualist who warned us of the power we had recklessly toyed with. He explained that Marcus was not a misplaced soul, but a malevolent entity that had latched onto our vulnerability. Our only hope rested in confronting him head-on, breaking free from his hold. Summoning our last reserves of courage, we returned to the basement, candles flickering anxiously. The spiritualist guided us through a ritual meant to sever our connection with Marcus and banish him to the deepest realms of darkness. Through a struggle filled with fear and defiance, he was cast out, vanishing into thin air. Though we had severed our bond with the malevolent spirit, the consequences lingered. Amanda never fully recovered, and her shadowy whispers continued to haunt her until her tragic end. Chris and I, forever changed by the horrors we had witnessed, struggled to maintain normal lives tainted by this harrowing experience. Now, I share this story not as a warning, but as a plea. Heed my tale for your own safety. The Ouija board is a gateway to realms beyond our comprehension, and once opened, it can unleash horrors that should never be witnessed by mortals. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting eerie shadows through the dimly lit room, my friends and I gathered around the old wooden table. A sense of trepidation hung in the air as we placed our fingers gently on the planchette of the Ouija board. We'd heard the stories, the warnings, but curiosity got the better of us. Is there anyone here with us? I whispered, my voice shaky. Seconds stretched into minutes, and just as doubt began to creep in, the planchette twitched ever so slightly, sending a shiver down my spine. We exchanged uneasy glances, confirming that none of us had moved it. The night grew colder as we continued to question the presence on the other side. With each question, the planchette gained confidence, spelling out answers that sent chills down our spines. It claimed to be a soldier from the Civil War, a soul trapped between realms seeking contact. Despite our fear, we pressed on, drawn into the eerie dialogue. As the session continued, the room's temperature plummeted, and a soft whisper echoed around us. Goosebumps prickled my skin as the planchette began to move more rapidly, spelling out cryptic messages and foreboding warnings. The soldier's tone turned menacing, and panic bubbled within me. Suddenly, a cold gust of wind blew through the room, extinguishing the candles and plunging us into darkness. Heart pounding, I fumbled for my phone and turned on the flashlight. That's when we saw it, a faint, shadowy figure hovering near the table. Dread settled over us like a heavy fog. Terrified, we scrambled to say goodbye, but the planchette moved of its own accord, sliding across the board to spell out a chilling message: "You can't leave." Panic surged as we desperately tried to lift our fingers, but they seemed glued to the planchette. The room seemed to vibrate with an otherworldly energy, and a chorus of disembodied voices filled the air. Time lost meaning as we struggled against the unseen force. It felt like an eternity before the planchette finally relented, allowing us to break free. We fled the room, leaving the board behind, and slammed the door shut. Over the following days, strange occurrences plagued us, objects moved on their own, eerie whispers followed us, and nightmarish visions haunted our dreams. Desperate, we sought the help of a medium who performed a cleansing ritual to sever the connection we had unknowingly established. Slowly, the disturbances subsided, but the memory of that night still haunts us. We learned the hard way that dabbling with forces beyond our understanding can have terrifying consequences, consequences that continue to remind us that some doors are better left unopened.
If you enjoy listening to scary horror content just like this, then hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you are updated on when I post a new video.